I've got some very good news for all of you guys that watch the videos on our channel, and I have a special guest with us here today. His name is Yuya Kato, and he is a 16-time funded professional prop trader. He's one of the most consistently profitable traders that I've seen, and he is an incredible teacher. And so the good news that I have for all of you guys that watch and stay tuned into our channel, which if you don't, I don't know what you're doing, but you should, is the fact that Yuya is actually going to be starting to publish videos on our channel. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop publishing videos on the channel, but we have an additional guest joining us here on our channel that's going to be putting out helpful content regularly. So in this video, what I wanted to do was introduce you guys really quickly to Yuya, who is one of the best traders that I know. I've learned so much from Yuya, and I know that you guys are going to as well. So what I want to do is just introduce him. He's going to tell a little bit about what he's going to be talking about on the channel. So Yuya, thanks so much for being willing to do this. Would you mind just telling people a little bit about your backstory? Like, I guess how you got into trading, and then what was it? Because I know you went through this, tough journey like everybody does, but what was it that started clicking for you to allow you to become such a successful trader? And by the way, I'll just say this. There's a lot of trading gurus out there that, they'll flash their fancy car or whatever. The good thing about Yuya, he doesn't do any of that. He's just a humble guy, and he's somebody that doesn't just talk the talk, but he walks the walk. And he's somebody that actually has been living off of his trading profits for some time now. So he's not somebody that's just, talking about it, but he's actually doing it, and it's allowed him to live a really cool lifestyle. So with all that being said, Yuya, take us back to, how you even first got into trading, and then what was your journey like that allowed you to become successful?
Thank you for having me. And yeah, so to kind of start everything off, it does come from like where I'm from, right? So I was born and raised in Hawaii to a single mother. And I think by having a single mother who immigrated from Japan and seeing her work hours and hours, multiple jobs, and not really realizing the effort she's put in until maybe when I was like 16 to 17 years old, kind of showed me that I had to figure out to be the man, of the house and find ways to make income. So growing up, I played sports, numerous of sports, but then was able to get a scholarship to play football, after high school. And then I thought my ticket to being financially free was through sports. Then I soon realized that, that childhood dream might not be something that I can fulfill just because, just athleticism and all these different kind of competitions that are in the college level, right? And with injuries as well too. So if it was not for football, I wouldn't have found forex, because when I was in my sophomore year, going into my junior year, I transferred to a school in Minnesota where I met someone who taught me about, there's this other side of income that I'm making other than football, where I don't really have to put too much time in, but I'm making this much. And he showed me bank statements of how much he made and all of that. And in the beginning, I thought it was like another a marketing scheme. But then as I got into it, I never really understood, right? I traded stocks a little bit on Robinhood and all of that, but then I was always afraid of doing things because I realized that you needed a lot of capital to be able to trade with stocks. So I was like, okay, I need to find something else. So I had a lot of money saved up from just working on the side. And then this guy introduced me to a company, that was basically creating an academy full of like expert traders who would teach you different strategies. And one weekend, I literally spent about 14 to 16 hours just diving into every single video and learning how to trade, right? And it was very enticing because when I want to learn something and I'm very passionate about it, I spend hours and hours, on perfecting that craft. And I'm just a competitor within myself. So I learned that. And the first trade that I took, essentially was a pair on Euro JPY. And I saw one of the experts teaching Fibonacci break and retest. And it was a simple break and retest and a Fibonacci retracement trade that I took. And I put $1,000 into a broker, and then I was able to make, $1,000 back. And it was crazy because yes, I probably over leveraged. I didn't understand anything about that. I did run a 1.00 lot size, and I caught 100 pips on my first trade ever. And from there, I took that 1,000 out and I saw it hit my bank account. And that's when I knew, oh wow, this could be it. This could be something. So I dove deeper and deeper, but then I started to realize that it was not as easy as I thought it would be, right? And this whole concept of how I really believe that psychology is 90% of trading didn't really come to a realization until I had to go through the hard times, right? So this was about 7 to 8 years ago where I first started, and I was growing and growing as a trader. I understood what to trade, but what I've realized is that I was hopping from trade strategies to trade strategies, learning from different people, and all that did was create inconsistency in my trading until I was fortunate enough to move to Japan, and then also continue to be able to play football as well too out here, professionally. And that allowed me to realize that, one thing that was affecting me was trading time, right? I was not really effective at certain times of the day. That's just my personal feel and how my psychology. I'm a person that loves to be up during the daytime and not sleeping during the daytime. And what forex did for me, especially from Hawaii, it kept me up during the middle of the night, which then led me to sleep during the morning, right? And that just did not fit with my lifestyle. I was not happy with always just, being up at night and not being able to do anything during the day. So when I got to Japan, the whole time zone shift, and I was able to trade, at peak hours, right? Around 4 p.m. and then also like 8 to 9 p.m. as well too. Those are times that I'm still wide awake and very alert. So I found that I could do everything throughout the day and still be able to trade. And in Japan, I was able to meet someone who was a very successful trader who has kind of taught me the importance of psychology. And from there, I started to read a lot of books on psychology and also transferred, my knowledge that I had on the charts to kind of more of a psychological base, right? So like everything that I do teach the people that are in my group, it's based off of technical analysis, but also majority of it relates to psychology. And I started to dive deeper as that person kind of taught me about all these different psychological tips that he used. And that allowed me to basically create somewhat of a consistency. And then this whole scene of the prop firm came. And from there, it completely changed my life for the better because I still never had enough capital. I was still, working a regular job sometimes and trying to get money to put it into my account, right? Like being an Uber driver, being an Uber delivery driver and all that, and try to make, ends meet doing that way until, prop firms like FTMO, the funded trader program and all these kind of came. But it was FTMO that first came and I was able to take a challenge. I took my first challenge. It was very scary. I spent about like $600 on the challenge. And then from there, I just did what I was doing, right? I was practicing basically everything that I learned and I was putting it into live action. And I was able to pass that, prop firm challenge and was able to be given a funded account. And from there, I still was kind of skeptical because I didn't get paid out yet. And then my first month, I was very conservative, but I was still able to make about 5%, which equated to about $4,000 something, after the profit split. And once I saw that get into my account, that's when I was like, oh wow, this is actually real. So for me, I'm a big believer in making sure you pay yourself, because if you don't pay yourself, you're never going to know it's real. You never get that real feeling. And that's why that first trade that I ever took, I paid myself, and that's when I knew it was real. So this whole prop firm scene allowed me and gave me this opportunity to trade with more capital. And I feel like the biggest problem that we have that affect our psychology is trading with little capital to no capital at all, right? And then we over leverage and we create bad habits. I do believe that bad habits start from over leveraging your account and not having enough capital. So after doing that, I began to pass more and more prop firm challenges. And then with that income and with that profits that I made, over a span of 6 to 12 months, about a year or so, I was able to put that into a live account. And that live account was able to generate me, honestly 5 to 10 times more, profits than a prop firm account has, right? So with that account, I'm a big believer in reinvesting your money back, right? So whether it was buying more prop firm challenges or investing into different things. And from there, I was able to create like a flow of, where my money has been going. And then it gave me this opportunity to be able to travel the world, be able to spend it with people that I love, and also like my dog as well too, who I'm very passionate about. Get to spend all the time with him, work on my own schedule, and be able to meet people from all different parts of the world at the same time and still play the sport that I love, right? And like I said, I'm a day person. I get to enjoy the day. I can go surfing, I can go traveling, and then come back at night and just trade 1 to 2 hours per day. I mean, for me, at 27 years old, I'm very happy that I get to live this life. I'm very fortunate and I never take it for granted. But I would say the big pivotal point of my career in trading was when the prop firm scenes came, because until then, I was not consistent. I knew how to trade, but like the big problem is the capital issue. And then I was able to solve it with these prop firms.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know that when you teach the members in your group, you talk a lot about some of the key things that allowed you to go from this struggling trader to becoming a very consistent trader. Because I think what a lot of people mess up on is, sure, they can put on a winning trade here or there, but the consistency, right, is what a lot of people struggle with. So I know the way that you help a lot of people in your group is with something called volume reaction trading, is what you call it. So would you mind, because I know we're going to go in depth in this in future videos. So guys, if you want to see these videos more in depth about how this all works, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Will you just give like a quick 1 to 2 minute overview of what is is volume reaction trading, and how did you come up with that?
So this whole concept of volume reaction trading, it was just to test and trial, right? I used to trade all different times of day. And whenever I saw something cool to enter off of or something that I knew, I should enter, I would enter. But then realize that why am I stuck in these trades for such a long time? It's really messing with my psychology. So when I kind of understood and when I got to Japan, I was able to trade at these specific times where the volume was at its peak. I understood that during the London session, volume would spike, right? Because the banks in the UK have opened, there's more money flowing in the market. And the same thing with the New York Forex Open and the NYSE Open. So I've realized that when these markets open, there's more volume. And when there's more volume, it's easier on my psychology. I always tell people this, that it's better to get your stop loss hit right away than be stuck in a trade for hours and hours and even days and then hit your stop loss, because you're missing out on all the opportunity. And people don't realize every trade you get into has an emotional effect on your psychology. You just think of a bar, your energy bar. You have 100% on your energy bar, right? As a trader, but every trade you take, you're basically diminishing it. And it can go all the way back down to zero, right? Some trades take 25% of that 100% energy, So you have to understand that every trade that you take has an effect. So if I can control the number of trades that I take by trading at these high peak volume times and making sure that each trade is not going to affect my psychology in a crazy way, because I'll be in and out of a trade, or I'm just taking it because markets seem to be easier to read at these high volume times, then I can have a longevity. Because trading, it's not about a destination. I always tell people it's about the journey you're taking, right? So you want to focus on that. And when you focus on that journey, you're focusing on consistency, right? People try to focus on an amount, an end goal, but then forget about consistency. But that's the main component in order to be a successful trader, is consistency. Coming at a specific time, trading a specific way, and going and understanding that you're never going to win all the time, but how do you deal with your losses? And I always tell people this, you learn more from your losses than your wins. You learn nothing from your wins. So this whole concept of volume reaction trading is basing trading off when the volume is at its peak, trading a specific way. And sometimes we do get manipulated, right? But there's ways to react from it. And we have all these different tools to be able to react to these situations. And I think that's what makes this way of trading a very lucrative way, because you're only taking away about an hour to 2 hours a day, of your time, to be able to potentially make, honestly, an infinite amount if you wanted to, depending on the size of your account, right? So it's a beautiful thing because we get to do what we want to do, right? Trading is not, we don't want to sit in front of a screen and just trade all day. We want to be able to do the things that trading can bring, right? Travel the world, spend time with people that we love. So I think that's the whole concept of this strategy, and it allows me to basically free up my time and be able to trade efficiently.
The thing that I love most about volume reaction trading is the simplicity that it gives to traders, because there's so much to this, and there's so many people that say different things, and there's so many different styles that you can take. But the beautiful thing about this is, right, you trade at the same time every day, you trade the same pairs every day, you trade the same strategy. There's just all of this consistency that's built into the trading system. And so when you put consistent inputs in, you're going to get more consistent outputs out. So that's what I love about it. And by the way, guys, if you would like to trade this strategy live in the mornings with Yuya, go to fundedtraderfasttrack.com and you can apply to actually trade live with Yuya. Like Yuya's been able to help tons of other people finally start to become consistent traders, which is pretty amazing. So with that being said, this was just a teaser. This was just the tip of the iceberg of what you're going to be learning from Yuya. This is just an introduction. We've got tons of awesome content planned for you. So make sure that you go ahead and like this video if you liked it, and subscribe so you don't miss any other helpful content that's going to be coming from Yuya.